Breaking news, a wild ride through mid-morning traffic, a high-speed chase up and down 128. A man accused of hitting a Walpole police officer, then leading police on the dangerous drive. Also breaking, Republican Ted Cruz making a big announcement, who he's tapping to be his running mate.
A pleasant afternoon becomes a chilly evening with some patchy frost.
And it's a story you'll see on just one station, a race to the rescue in Shirley, where a 3-year-old gets lost in the woods. Only our cameras are there for the emotional reunion.
7 News at 5 starts now. Tonight on 7, a wild high-speed chase ends in a fiery scene.
If I wasn't going fast, because I drove fast, he would have just cremated my car.
A suspect cuffed and in custody.
If I didn't get out of the way, he would have hit me.
After a dangerous drive.
There are some breaking developments to share with you here at 5. A suspect now in custody after leading police on that wild chase. Michael LeBlanc, seen right here, is behind bars. It all started at a golf course in Walpole where that suspect allegedly dragged an officer and then kept going.
And it came to a fiery end in West Roxbury after a chase that stretched more than 26 miles. For more on the injured officer and to the latest on the suspect, we do have big story coverage. Let's get started with 7's Byron Burnett live in West Roxbury. Byron.
Well, this very dangerous and frightening car chase took off and began in Walpole, and then it went for several miles up and down the highway through various towns before it came to an end, a fiery end in West Roxbury. The car was zooming through various towns at high speeds. Police say 28-year-old Michael LeBlanc of Abington was behind the wheel. The wild chase began after police say LeBlanc injured a police officer in Walpole. The car traveled erratically north on 128 and then reversed direction heading south. The driver was finally arrested after he ditched the car in West Roxbury and ran into a nearby apartment building. His car erupted in flames. Stunned neighbors watched in disbelief.
The car was smoking crazy, and then all of a sudden it went into flames and then it burst. You know, it made a loud noise.
Witnesses say before LeBlanc was arrested, he ran into this apartment building and banged on doors trying to get into someone's apartment. 67-year-old Jim Moynihan answered when LeBlanc frantically knocked on his door.
I opened the door, cracked, and he had like a bunch of money in his hand. He kept saying, "Please let me in, let me in." He was trying to get money, me to take money to let him in the apartment. And then I pushed the door shut and I called 911.
Witnesses say an army of police rushed in with guns drawn and arrested LeBlanc.
I could hear the banging through my door of him just running down the hall. I was home alone. It was a little nerve-wracking.
Witnesses say LeBlanc put many lives in danger as he blew through various neighborhoods at a high rate of speed, narrowly missing other cars and people.
If I wasn't going fast, because I drove fast, he would have just cremated my car and just crushed me.
And back here live, you can see the charred spot where the car went up in flames. The car has been towed away. LeBlanc is now facing multiple charges, and a number of residents in that apartment building where he entered say this was a terrifying ordeal. They're glad LeBlanc was arrested. That's the latest live on the Dedham-West Roxbury line. I'm Byron Barnett, 7 News.
Now at 11, a Massachusetts state trooper killed in the line of duty. Tonight, we're learning more about the traffic stop that ended in a deadly crash.
And we're also learning more about Officer Thomas Clardy, the former Marine remembered as a dedicated father and husband.
Law enforcement from across the state paying their respects. Tonight, their final salute. We have 19 coverage.
Also tonight, a developing story. Hit by hate. Troubling graffiti found in a local high school.
Warmer weather for St. Patrick's Day, but we are tracking showers as well.
And it's a story of hope and healing. Meet the little girl whose terrifying fall ended up saving her life.
Now her miracle is being made into a movie.
7 News at 11 starts now.
Tonight on 7, a traffic stop takes a deadly turn.
Today, we pray for him.
A decorated officer killed in the line of duty.
We'll never be able to fill the hole that is left in their lives from this day forward.
A show of support after a trooper tragedy. And tonight, a live look at the state police barracks in Charlton, where bunting drapes over the windows, and officers from across the state mourn the loss of one of their own. Trooper Thomas Clardy killed in the breakdown lane during a traffic stop on the Mass Pike.
The 44-year-old leaves behind a wife and 6 children. Tonight, he's being remembered as a man who was dedicated to his family and work, as we hear from some of the people who knew him well.
We have night team coverage of this trooper tragedy, from the latest on the investigation to what we're learning about the man behind the wheel, and of course, all about the trooper too. We begin with the night team's Nick Emmons live in Charlton.
Kim, definitely a very difficult day for law enforcement across the state, especially for those at the barracks here who are trying to come to terms with this terrible tragedy today. As you can see, that bunting was placed here about an hour ago to honor the man who's only been described as a hard-working trooper. A salute to service. First responders line the Mass Pike from Worcester to Boston to remember State Police Trooper Thomas Clardy, the 44-year-old killed just a few hours earlier. He'd stopped this SUV and had gone back to his cruiser when this Nissan Maxima slammed into him.
For reasons that are still under investigation, the Maxima suddenly swerved to the right, crossed all 3 travel lanes, and without slowing, struck the rear of Trooper Clardy's cruiser with the trooper inside.
The high-speed collision catastrophic.
The tremendous impact of the crash pushed the cruiser into the Tahoe stopped in front of it, and then off that vehicle and onto the grassy side of the highway.
First responders found Clardy in his car, severely hurt. They started CPR. He was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Clardy leaves behind a wife and 6 children. The 30-year-old driver of the mangled Maxima flown to UMass Medical Center with serious injuries. He was criminally cited for negligent operation.
The investigation is ongoing to determine whether further charges will be sought.
And sources tell 7 News that investigators are looking into that 30-year-old driver's cell phone to see if he may have been texting leading up to that crash. In Charlton, Nick Emmons, 7 News 19.
Now at 11, trees come tumbling down. Now they're cleaning up after wild weather blows through.
The rain is clearing out, but we are tracking more trouble. We could see another round of scattered showers and even a few thunderstorms tomorrow.
A fallen state trooper killed in a crash gets a special salute. Tonight, a man who saw the wreck and stopped to help tells his story.
We're also hearing from the family of the man who investigators say caused the crash. Their message to the family that the trooper left behind. We have night team coverage.
Then a local community on edge tonight after reports of a suspicious man approaching a young boy.
A local man out $900 after a simple mistake at the RMV, and he was left sitting in neutral until he called Solve at 7.
And fired up at a high school pep rally. A stunt takes a dangerous turn.
Details now from the night team.
7 News at 11 starts now.
Starting at 11 with wild weather, strong storms roll through, bringing tree trouble to some places. Those storms have all moved out now.
But they did leave some people with some cleaning up to do. Night team's Brandon Gano live in Chelmsford, for example, where many people are in fact in the dark right now. Still no power.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. A lot of people still in the dark because there's just a lot of work to do. Crews have finally reset that utility pole. But if you can take a look, right now they're installing and raising those new power lines.
On 7, an eyewitness account.
Everybody started taking turns giving CPR.
Strangers stepping in to help.
It feels too close to home.
After a trooper tragedy.
Hard to accept for people across the state who are mourning the loss of Trooper Thomas Clardy tonight.
The veteran officer, father of 6, killed when a traffic stop on the Mass Pike took a tragic turn. Earlier today, many came out for a solemn salute to the fallen officer. State troopers standing at attention on overpasses and the side of the road as his body passed by on his way from Boston to a funeral home out in Hudson.
We have night team coverage of the trooper tragedy, from the tributes to more on Trooper Clardy to new details from the driver of the other car and his family. Let's get started with the night team's Tim Caputo live in Charlton.
And guys, certainly a difficult day and a half for the troopers here at this state police barracks. Everyone looking for answers yesterday and today. Also, investigators trying to find out the exact cause of this accident. They say at this point they're not ruling anything out. A somber sunrise for state police officers in mourning. A lone trooper lowered the flag to half staff outside the Charlton State Police Barracks in memory of Trooper Thomas Clardy. Not far down the road, there were also heavy hearts at the Charlton Fire Department.
We're on first-name basis with all those troopers, so knowing that it's probably somebody that you just talked to within the last couple days at a different incident, it hits home a little bit more.
But before firefighters arrived to the crash scene, some drivers, including Emilio Mendez, pulled over on the Mass Pike and tried to free the trooper from his mangled SUV.
Everybody was helping it. There's a lot of commotion at that point. Sometimes it's hard to kind of, stay focused. It was a tough scene.
Mendez, a Worcester contractor, showed us the giant metal bar he tried to use to pry open the car door.
Right here. There was, three men trying to pry open the door.
Emergency responders arrived moments later to help Trooper Clardy, who Mendez says was still alive.
It's chaotic at first, and then it takes us a little while to sort of sort things out.
Guys got up there and did what they needed to do. A lot of great bystanders that were up there that helped as well.
Trooper Clardy died at UMass Medical in Worcester. Police say the veteran trooper was in his cruiser during a traffic stop when he was struck by 30-year-old David Jaguna of Webster. Investigators believe Jaguna lost control of his Nissan Maxima while changing lanes. Jaguna, who's still in the hospital, was issued a criminal summons on charges of negligent operation and failure to stay in marked lanes. Sky 7 high above the State Police headquarters in Framingham, the twisted wreckage inside a garage here. Investigators still trying to determine the exact cause of the crash. Sources tell 7 News everything is being looked at, from speeding to a medical emergency to distracted driving. Meanwhile, back at the Charlton Fire Department, a gray, gloomy day, fitting as they too search for answers.
We're all in this job together because it could have been one of us. It could have been any one of them.
Funeral arrangements have been finalized. The wake will be held Monday afternoon from 2 to 7 at St. Michael's Church in the town of Hudson. The funeral held the following day, Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. at that same church. You will likely see a number of law enforcement from Massachusetts, from across New England, and likely from across the country. We're live tonight in Charlton. Tim Caputo, 7 News 19.
New tonight, a show of sympathy from the family of the driver who caused the crash, saying they are just devastated. Tonight, the driver is still in the hospital. When he recovers, he's facing charges and will not be allowed to drive. Night Team's Kimberly Bookman live in Worcester with more now on the investigation and this apology from the family.
Yeah, Kim, I talked to that driver's cousin. This is very difficult for them, too. Their loved one was taken from the crash scene by helicopter to this hospital here, where he has been in the ICU ever since. David Jaguna is in the intensive care unit at UMass Medical Center in Worcester right now. His family telling 7 News he has a concussion, 2 broken ribs, and a deep cut on his leg. Police say the 30-year-old Webster man was behind the wheel of the Nissan Maxima that swerved across 3 lanes of traffic on the Pike and hit Trooper Thomas Clardy's cruiser. Charged Wednesday night with negligent operation of a motor vehicle and failure to stay in marked lanes. Today, state police took away his license, saying he poses an immediate threat. Unwilling to talk about the future, the driver's family instead offering condolences to Trooper Clardy's family, saying they're, quote, devastated by the death of the dedicated trooper and proud father who lost his life in the effort of making us all safe. His family is in our prayers. And that driver will be arraigned at Dudley District Court. No date has been set at this point. Reporting live from Worcester, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News 19.
Stay with 7 News for the latest on this trooper tragedy. From tributes to Trooper Clardy to the latest in the investigation. Follow us on air and online at WHDH.com.